Hello, allow me to introduce my texture and mesh batch processor, which I programmed in Python and uses Maya for the interface. So to begin with, we need to load a new texture template file, which is a file that tells the batch processor how to recognize which channel is contained in which texture. So I've created one here. This is a warning that could unfortunately not be removed, but do not worry about it. So next, if we wanted to create a new texture template to add to the file, we click on this. Let's say we have a subsurface scattering texture that contains a subsurface R, a subsurface G, and a subsurface B channel. Those are the textures that are packed into it. Suppose we have those that we want to process, and then we need to add them to the texture template file so that it can recognize them. The exact labels do not matter so long as you remember them so that you can keep them consistent in the future. You can add more if you want, but that's all I'll need. I have the rest already added. Next, we select the source folder for which contains all the stuff we want to process. In this case, I have all my stuff in here. Next, it will find everything that wasn't recognized. So you can clearly see this does not correspond to any to the SSS that I just added. So it was put here, and here we just have to add the labels again. Oops. And I'll do that for the others as well. So now that we've added them, we can add these labels, and now they should conform properly and be processed properly in the future. So here we have the export settings that can choose. You can choose whether to structure it by file type or by asset. Usually by asset makes more sense, but file type can be useful as well. Here we have how to scale the texture, or whether we want to just set an absolute scale. Let's make everything pretty small so that it's easy to process. Next, we have what texture format we want. Leave it at PNG. The prefix to add to the meshes, we'll add SM for the meshes and T for the textures. Then we add the texture output. So internally, it'll sort all the meshes and the textures together based on their names. It'll recognize which ones belong together, and then it will give you the option to output packed textures based on which channels you tell it to pack. So we could say we wanted an AORH, which has occlusion, roughness, and height, for example, and we want an albedo with color R, color G, and color B, and it'll find these channels so long as they're consistent with the channel labels that you gave it in the beginning and in the texture file. So we'll run this. So now that it's processed the assets, it will ask you where you want the assets put. So I will just add a new folder, temp, and we will put all the assets here. So we have now all the assets in the temp folder. We can see that it added these automatically. It added the prefixes as well. And we have the textures for each of them added. We have the albedo and the AORH. We can see, oh, can see they're all 256s by 256. And it's like that for the rest of them as well. For stuff that has multiple texture variations, so to say, they will each get a separate texture. Otherwise, as you could see in the others, if there's only one set of textures, it'll only process as many outputs as you put in the output settings. And yeah, that's the batch processor.